just seeing it, like my heart broke. Just seeing the impact of the vehicle and the condition of it.
An EMT driver is dead after a horrific crash between a dump truck and an ambulance in King and Queen County. We share the voice of a woman who saw the aftermath of the crash.
What the president said is he's sending that back to the states, but we have already seen that the states are not equipped to meet the need of every child.
Representative Jennifer McClellan sharing her thoughts on President Donald Trump's executive order to dismantle the Department of Education. Cameron Thompson joins us live, detailing how Governor Youngkin has responded.
The Henrico Weston community is coming together to honor the life of a student shot and killed 4 years ago. How they are making it happen with the annual food drive.
This is CBS 6 Early Morning.
Hi there, coming up on 5 o'clock on this Friday, March 21st. I'm Rob Cardwell.
And I'm Reba Hollingsworth. Brendan is in for Kristen this morning. He'll have a check on the roads coming up in just a few minutes. But right now, we got Mike Stone in the house again. Hi, Mike, with a look at your forecast.
Hey, guys. Yeah, happy Friday. Yesterday, we had some showers and thunderstorms later in the afternoon. It was nice and warm yesterday, but a cold front came through. And today, it's going to be a lot cooler. In fact, temperatures outside right now are in the 40s, but we're dropping into the 30s just northwest of the area. And that colder air is going to filter in over the next few hours. And in terms of the breeze outside, we do have some gusts over 20 miles an hour, so it feels like temps are in the mid 30s to low 40s across the region right now. Still some clouds across the area. These will continue to bust on up. There's the rain exiting last night. So it's going to be a dry day today. Any leftover clouds will decrease the next few hours. We'll see a good deal of sunshine for the day, especially during the afternoon. Look to our north and west. Temperatures there are down 20 to 30 degrees. So unlike the mid and upper 70s we had yesterday, today across the region, we're going to have highs in the upper 50s and low 60s, which is actually right where we should be this time of year. Overnight tonight, we'll drop down the 30s to around 40 degrees, but we warm back up to around 70 or so for tomorrow. But we have some other changes for Sunday. We'll chat about that coming up in the full 7-day forecast. Rob, Reba?
All right, thank you, Mike.
All right, let's go to Brendan now with a look at the roads.
Just between the last hit I did and now, we have two new crashes to tell you about, one in Richmond, another in Chesterfield. But first, let's start here. Interstate 95, we're just south of the Bryant Park interchange. The headlights moving towards the camera. They're traveling south towards the Belvedere exit, towards the downtown area. We're looking pretty good on all of our major interstates and highways in Central Virginia and the Tri-Cities. Let's talk about this. This is in Richmond's West End. A crash just reported Patterson Avenue and Bunting Avenue. And the other in Chesterfield. This is near a DAV location and a couple of churches, Belmont Road and Newsby Bridge Roads. Watch out for any possible first responders on scene. Flashing lights, give themselves some extra room. Reba, Rob, back to you.
All right, thanks, Brendan. An EMT driver has died after a dump truck and ambulance collided on Route 360 in King and Queen County.
Our Elizabeth Holmes shares what we know and talked with a woman who saw the aftermath of that crash.
We're standing on Fleets Mill Road right by Route 360 in King and Queen County. The intersection behind me is where Virginia State Police say there was a crash involving an ambulance and a dump truck, tragically killing the EMT driving at the time.
Video shows the extent of the damage. A tow truck lifting the mangled ambulance as first responders assess what happened to one of their own Thursday morning.
It was devastating.
Jordan Brooks saw the aftermath when she was taking her children to school.
Just seeing it, like my heart broke. Just seeing the impact of the vehicle and the condition of it and the amount of people were around it, I knew that something really terrible had to have happened.
State police say they were called to the scene around 6:50 a.m. Their initial investigation suggests the driver of the dump truck attempted to use a crossover and pulled in front of the ambulance while it was traveling. CBS 6 confirmed the ambulance was being operated by American Medical Response employees Jacob Bozeman, an advanced emergency medical technician, and Christopher Mack, a paramedic. Bozeman died in the crash. Both Mack and the driver of the dump truck were taken to an area hospital. Police confirmed AMR was not responding to a call at the time, nor carrying any patients. AMR sent a statement to CBS 6 that says in part, quote, "Every day, our EMS crews put themselves on the front lines to save lives and serve their communities with dedication and compassion. This incident is a heartbreaking reminder of the risk they take in the name of caring for others."
My sincere condolences are sent out to them, their families, the loved ones, all of the first responders who responded this morning to that call.
This crash is still under investigation. We'll be sure to update you on air and online as we learn more. In King and Queen County, I'm Elizabeth Holmes, CBS 6 News.
This weekend, a community in Henrico's West End is asking for your help to donate to a food drive in honor of a Kiakasan Middle School student, Lucia Bramer. The 13-year-old was walking with a friend after school when she was shot and killed on March 26th of 2021. Now, every year since, her family and friends look for ways to honor her life. Canterbury Recreation Association on Pump Road is hosting a food drive for Feed More on Saturday, where the Bramers are longtime members. This is video from the food drive 3 years ago. Brendan talked with facility manager Angie Hutchinson, who's organizing the food drive alongside Bramer's family. She says dozens of volunteers are working to make the food drive happen.
It's actually a very fun atmosphere, even though it's a very sad situation, but we try to make it light when we can. Lucia means light. They like to spread the light. They like to keep her light alive. They would really rather focus on how she lived rather than how she died.
I like that. Lucia means light. The 4th annual Lucia Bramer Food Drive is tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 2 at 1300 Pump Road in the West End. You're asked to bring canned food and non-perishables. No glass will be accepted, by the way. You can make a monetary donation, too, on the Feed More website.
There is a new treatment available for prostate cancer at VCU Massey Comprehensive Cancer Center that doesn't require any cutting or radiation. Instead, it uses ultrasound technology to target tissue. Dr. Alexander Kingsburg at VCU took CBS 6 inside of the operating room to show us how the non-invasive machine known as the Focal One HIFU can help change the lives of those battling the deadly disease. It is the only one of its kind in Virginia, and it uses precise targeting to deliver treatment specifically to the cancerous cells, resembling the effect of rays passing through a magnifying glass to heat a focused point. During the procedure, patients are positioned on their side, and doctors used real-time ultrasound images combined with MRI data to create a 3D model of the prostate. The procedure lasts roughly an hour and a half, allowing most patients to return home the same day. This form of treatment is typically suggested for men with intermediate risk of prostate cancer. Dr. Kingsburg says you can always ask your doctor whether this treatment is an option for you.
It's not an option for everyone, but for many men it is, and really could reduce side effects.
Dr. Kingsburg added the treatment has shown promising results, with data showing about 70 to 80% of men will not require any radical treatments like surgery or radiation 5 years after receiving HIFU. However, approximately 25% may need a second treatment.
5:06 right now. It is Kings Dominion's 50th anniversary, and they're celebrating with the launch of a new roller coaster.
Yeah, the Raptera is breaking records as the longest and tallest launch wing roller coaster in the world. You hear Janine screaming right there. Zach Daniel and Janine Samuels got to be some of the first people to ride it. Raptera stretches more than 3,000 feet long and 145 feet tall. The folks at Kings Dominion say the ride was inspired by the flight of the mythical creature, the jungle hawk, and pays homage to the old volcano.
The Volcano was a much beloved coaster. We miss it dearly, and when it was retired, it was a very sad day for us. But we were very purposeful when we opened this ride to honor the tradition of Volcano and what was left here. And you'll see nods to that ride throughout the entire experience.
Wow, we still hear Janine.
The adventure lasts nearly a minute and a half, featuring 3 inversions and plenty of twists and turns.
Oh, wow.
Raptera opens to the public March 29th, but pass holders will get a chance to ride it first on the 28th. Zach, I don't think, can hear out of his left ear anymore.
I used to love Volcano, though, so I'm glad they're still paying homage to it. Yes.
Pretty cool, Mike.
Volcano was a freaky ride because that was one of the first magnetic ones we had.
Yeah.
So you're used to
just shoot you out, right?
Yeah, you're used to go chick, 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 and then no, it's just boom.
Right.
It's just like, okay, my lunch is back there. Well, guys, we have a mix of some stars and clouds outside right now. There are some clouds that are going to clear on out. That's how it looks up in Doswell, our after-hours concert cam. It's going to be a lot cooler today. We're going to be in the upper 50s and low 60s, but not as warm warm as yesterday. We'll talk about your weekend and 7-day forecast coming up in just a few moments. Time now for another Window World picture at 5:08. This one is from Douglas Bates, and this is called Morning on the Bay. Check out that beautiful shot. Don't forget, Friday we show the best ofs from the previous week here. If you want to send in a picture, it's pics@WTVR.com email-wise or the CBS 6 Weather Authority app. Rob?
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Speaking of which, a terrifying close call with severe weather. Look at that.
Man.
Wow. The moment a driver was nearly struck by a bolt of lightning.
Plus, eggs remain expensive, and now we are learning Germany will not help the U.S. with its supply. The reason why and the number of egg products Border Patrol says are being smuggled across the southern border.
You're watching CBS 6, part of the Scripps News Group.
Today, the Justice Department has a deadline in a case prompting concern about the U.S. checks and balances system. The judge wants the DOJ to submit a sworn statement regarding potential use of the state secrets privilege. U.S. District Judge James Boasberg says the DOJ defied him once and potentially twice in an immigration case. The case involves whether immigration officials can use a wartime law to deport people without hearings. Records show Boasberg gave oral and written restraining orders on March 15th, blocking deportation flights related to the case. But the White House says 3 such flights took off the same night. Now the DOJ has until Tuesday to prove it didn't defy the judge's restraining orders.
Germany's Egg Association is announcing it can no longer provide eggs to the United States. That's according to reporting from CNN affiliate RTL Germany. That announcement comes as eggs are slowly becoming a more rare and expensive commodity here in the States, with the government looking to other countries to supplement the stocks. The shortage from the German Egg Association comes ahead of Easter. Of course, that's during a time when Germans are also eating a lot more eggs, roughly 244 per person per year. It also comes as Border Patrol reports that more people are trying to bring fresh eggs across the southern border, which is illegal. The agency's San Diego field office reports a 158% increase in egg interceptions.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission is recalling about 2,300 bottles of Benadryl for not being in child-resistant packaging and posing as a poisoning risk. The Benadryl liquid elixir bottles were sold on Amazon between July 2023 and October of 2024. The Benadryl contains an ingredient that is required to be in child-resistant packaging by the Poison Prevention Packaging Act. The company is contacting anyone who bought the recalled medicine directly.
Oh, did you see that? Wild moments when a driver in Atlanta was nearly hit by a bolt of lightning driving on the interstate. Man, the Southwest saw severe weather this past Sunday, Atlanta in particular, littered with lightning strikes like this as storms moved through the city. This driver just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time when a bolt hit a road sign.
Whoa.
Destroyed it. That strike also creating some debris from the asphalt from the sign. That driver had to swerve to avoid it. This severe weather also caused powerful wind and tornadoes across the region and killed at least 37 people. But that person was very lucky, huh?
Mike, that was crazy.
Hey, have you guys ever been in a car that's been struck by lightning?
Mm-mm.
It is wild.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you see this big bright light, of course, and it just makes this loud, like roaring sound, and you can actually feel it leave the car because it hits that metal area. So it just hits you, it goes, just vroom.
Wow.
It is freaky to drive through, but actually being in the car is pretty safe. Road sign, not so much. We had a little bit of severe weather of our own yesterday. We had some thunderstorm wind damage here downtown near Forest Hill in Midlothian, the tree down there at US 60. We also had wind gusts at Richmond International at 54 miles an hour. This applied to rain that fell yesterday. Areas in the lightest green didn't see too terribly much, but areas that were in yellow and orange here did have some isolated areas between 1 and 2 inches, but this was kind of very isolated. There were some neighborhoods that got a tenth, quarter of an inch, go a couple miles, and they got over an inch of rain. So it was very isolated in terms of the heavier amounts. But we have a few clouds outside now. We're in the process of clearing out. Yesterday we hit 77. Today we're going to be right around our normal high of 61. Sunrise is at 7:11 this morning. And we saw almost 4/10 of an inch of rain at the airport yesterday, bringing our monthly total up to 3.40. Pollen count continues to be pretty bad. Some moderate to high values of tree pollen yet again today. And temperatures right now are in the 40s across most of our regions, 50 down in Norfolk. But look at that, it's 38 up in Stanton. The colder air is coming in behind the cold front that came through last night that was with the shower and thunderstorm activity. And it's still pretty breezy outside. So we have some wind chills mid to upper 30s to around 40 degrees. And there's the rain exiting to our east during the overnight hours. Still some clouds around with some breaks in there. And these clouds will continue to decrease the rest of the morning. So skies will turn sunny today. It'll be breezy about the first half of the day with some gusts over 20 miles an hour. The winds will relax a little bit later on today. Highs upper 50s and low 60s, but tomorrow we warm back up to around 70. And it will be breezy, warmer, cloud sun mix. There could be a little sprinkle in northern Virginia, like maybe Fredericksburg, Stafford County, and points northward as that front gets in the area, but most of the state is going to stay dry. And then on Sunday, behind that front, it'll be cooler again, mid-50s to low 60s with a cloud sun mix. Here are highs across the region today. A lot of low 60s across central Virginia. And then going into tonight, lows dropping down to between about 35 and 40 degrees, a little bit warmer right up against the coast. Tomorrow, 65 in our coastal communities, but upper 60s and low 70s elsewhere. And then looking at high temperatures on Sunday in the 50s and low 60s. So again, a dry weekend, maybe a couple sprinkles in northern Virginia tomorrow. Our next chance of rain area wide will be on Monday in the form of a few showers, a high of 68, and maybe a shower or two later Tuesday evening into Wednesday. But you notice we cool off a little bit towards Wednesday and Thursday, back down to around 60. But I took a look. Next weekend, we'll be back into the 70s. That's the way it looks for right now. Rob, Reba.
Thanks, Mike. For your positive start to your day, Olympic gold medalist Christy Coventry is making history after being elected as the 10th president of the International Olympic Committee.
She is IOC's first woman and African president. The 41-year-old will also be the youngest ever to assume the role. She officially takes charge on June 24th after incumbent Thomas Bach steps down following his 12 years at the top. Before becoming a member of the IOC, Coventry was a standout swimmer for Zimbabwe, winning 7 of the country's 8 Olympic medals to date.
Very cool. Well, a celebrity stuffed animal is being removed from his perch out in the west from this tree. Yeah, why he's being taken down and how he got up there in the first place.
5:22 on this Friday morning. Good morning to you. I'm Brennan King in for Kristen. She has the day off. We have a lot to get to, so let's start here. This is a new crash just reported in Fluvanna County at Dixie Lane and East River Road. We're just south of 64. All lanes are closed, so definitely find an alternate route. Also tracking a crash in Richmond's West End. This is at Patterson Avenue and Bunting Avenue. And another crash in Chesterfield to tell you about, Belmont Road and Newsby Bridge Road. This is where a DAV location and several churches. Not seeing any impacts to real-time traffic. All right, this might impact your traffic commute this morning. Bridge repairs finishing up on the Perrin Road over Interstate 95 southbound, so this should wrap up at 6 o'clock this morning. And at the exact same location, but this weekend, shoulder rehab will begin. Interstate 95 south, mile marker 82. The right and center lane closures are starting Saturday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Robin, Reba.
All right, thanks, Brendan. Well, sloths are known for being lazy and hanging around all day, but turns out stuffed sloths aren't much different.
Yeah, stuffed sloths. This giant stuffed animal known as Slothy went viral on social media about a year ago after an unknown person placed it high up in a tree next to a highway in Washington State. I don't know why. But now it's been removed from its perch after transport officials said too many drivers were slowing down to take a look at Slothy. And judging by a local Reddit page, locals had grown very attached to Slothy there. Despite the distraction he was for those behind the wheel, the Washington State Department of Transportation says it took a break in the weather, a 125-foot bucket truck, and some true skills to remove this celebrity sloth from its spot 70 feet in the air. Slothy.
Nobody saw it going up there.
No,
Yeah.
but everybody's got something to say about it coming down.
Exactly how it got up there.
Nobody knows.
No one knows.
Back in our day, they just put a horse in the Dean's.
There's not a there's cameras that catch you with the red light. There's not a camera to see you. Really? Okay. Well, we hope you got fresh batteries in the remote and fresh popcorn to put in the microwave, because we are just a few hours away from day 2 of March Madness. We're going to tell you about the slate of games you have for you today on CBS 6 and when you can catch Richmond and other Virginia teams in the women's brackets.
This is CBS 6 Early Morning.
Well, we certainly had an eventful first day of spring, huh? Some heavy rain across parts of our viewing area, but some good news today. We're going to have a lot more sun for your Friday.
Yes.
Man, I got caught running in that rain from a restaurant yesterday.
You did.
You and me, remember? Hey, good morning on this Friday, March 21st. I'm Rob Cardwell.
And I'm Reba Hollingsworth. Thanks for staying with us this morning. Before we get to your traffic of the day with Brendan, we're going to send it across the studio to Mike Stone. Hey, Mike.
Hey, the running, that counts as cardio.
Yeah, good.
If it's from it doesn't matter if it's from a restaurant, it's still steps.
Pulled a hamstring, by the way. Yeah.
He did. I saw him.
Good thing. We want you to be able to walk for the rest of the show, Bobby Ray. We have clear skies up in or over in Midlothian. That's our Independence Golf Club camera. Some areas, a few clouds across the region right now, but these will kind of bust on up the next few hours, and we'll see a sunny day. Today, sun's up at 7:11 this morning. It sets at 7:22. Right now, we have temperatures in the low and mid 40s across a lot of central Virginia. We have some 30s up by Stanton. Cold front came through last evening with those showers and thunderstorms, and cooler air starting to filter in the region. Look at this versus the past 24 hours. This time yesterday, we're down like 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 degrees across central Virginia. Look at Stanton, down 21 degrees. That's a sign of the direction in which our temperatures are going. So instead of mid-upper 70s today, we'll be around 60 or so. And still some gusty winds outside. These will relax as the day wears on, but there's enough of a breeze outside to create some wind chills in the mid-30s to around 40 degrees. Feels like 30 up in Stanton. There's the rain exiting to the southeast. The leftover clouds here starting to decrease. So we'll see a good deal of sunshine as the morning wears on and a sunny afternoon. A little bit breezy first half of the day. A high today of 61 degrees, and that's right where we should be this time of year, but that's going to be about 16 degrees cooler than it was yesterday. And no problems across the Mid-Atlantic if you're doing any traveling. Temperatures will be in the 50s and 60s. We look to the southwest, though, some warm air is coming back for tomorrow. We'll talk about that in the 7-day forecast coming up. Rob, Reba.
All right, thanks, Mike. A Powhatan County man who owns a youth sports academy has been charged with multiple counts of sexual assault toward a minor. 50-year-old Joseph Parker is facing 4 charges of aggravated sexual battery of a child under the age of 13 and 2 counts of taking indecent liberties with a child by a person in a custodial or supervisory role. Parker owns and operates the Fast Feet Sports Academy along Carter-Gallier Boulevard. The sheriff's office has not been able to confirm if the alleged victim attends Fast Feet Sports Academy. Parker is being held without bail.
President Donald Trump has now issued an executive order to dismantle the Department of Education.
However, entirely shuttering the department still requires an act of Congress. Cameron Thompson is live detailing how Virginia lawmakers on both sides are reacting. Cam.
Yeah, good morning. And those leaders of the Democrats and Republicans here in Virginia having polar opposite reactions to this executive order signed by President Donald Trump yesterday. While it doesn't specifically say how it will happen, the order directs the Secretary of the Department of Education to start to close down the department to, quote, the maximum extent permitted, end quote, and return functions to the state level. The White House says that the aim is to close the department beyond its core necessities, such as Title I funding for low-income schools, Pell Grants, and money for children with disabilities. The order also directs the Secretary of Education to review federal funds that go to school programs, making sure they comply with federal laws and don't involve things like diversity, equity, and inclusion or promote gender ideology. Trump said the department was too bureaucratic, it was spending too much money that wasn't resulting in better performances. The reasons for this executive order And it is the latest action from this administration targeting that department, as staffing was nearly halved earlier this month. Now, Virginia Republicans voiced support for the move, including Representatives Ben Cline and John McGuire, while Governor Glenn Youngkin said in a statement the state is, quote, ready to take full responsibility for K-12 education, adding they'll continue to make sure students are career, college, or military ready when they graduate. But the order is drawing condemnation from Democrats and local education leaders. Richmond School Superintendent Jason Cameron says it sends a powerful negative message about the country's commitment to education. Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan said that's a big step backwards, and states already have primary control over school content and funding. The feds help meet needs of students, like with financial assistance and protecting civil rights. Now, first up, you're going to be hearing from Governor Glenn Youngkin, who spoke about these changes on Wednesday before the order was signed, about how he sees these moves as positive, followed by McClellan on how Virginia's history of massive resistance demonstrates a need for this federal department.
And I think as the idea of potentially block granting more money to the states for K-12 education will really benefit Virginians. I think we are doing an incredibly good job reestablishing excellence in education.
The impact of that history did not go away with the wave of a magic wand, and the Department of Education was created to make sure every state and locality had the resources they need to address that legacy, to make sure every child had the resource they need.
Now, while this executive order is calling for a paring down of the department, actually fully closing it would require an act of Congress, which created the Department of Education back in the 70s, and that needs 60 votes, meaning at least 7 Democrats would have to join with Republicans in order to do so. In Richmond, Cameron Thompson, CBS 6 News.
All right, it is 5:33. Let's go to Brendan now.
A lot going on this Friday morning. A new crash in Chesterfield to tell you about. But first, let's start here. Interstate 64. We're in Henrico County. This is at Broad and Glenside. Some traffic picking up, but I can tell you our major interstates, our highways across Central Virginia, the Tri-Cities, are looking pretty good. All right, let's talk about a new crash. This is in Chesterfield. This is just west of 95. This is near the Colonial Ridge Apartments. A new crash just reported Mango Wood and Route 1. The other crash I'm watching in Chesterfield, this is near Belmont Road and Newsby Bridge Road. This is just north of 288. A crash in Richmond's West End to tell you about. You might want to avoid the area. Patterson Avenue and Bunting Avenue. You know this place gets really busy in the morning. And over in the Charlottesville area, a crash in Fluvanna County. This is at Dixie Lane and East River Road. All lanes are closed, so definitely find an alternate route. Rob, back to you.
Thank you, Brendan. A 38-year-old former Richmond school teacher is suffering from kidney failure, and she's hoping to find a donor. DeLacy Fleming here received the diagnosis 3 years ago after a case of the flu caused severe complications to some underlying conditions. Doctors told her she would have to go on dialysis until she could find a donor, and the life-saving appointments she would need to go to 3 times a week made her step back from teaching, and that's her biggest passion. DeLacy is hoping that putting her story out there can get her one step closer to finding a donor and getting back to her normal everyday life.
It's something that would change my life or anybody else's life. Donate that kidney and be that hero for me so that I can, keep living a normal, healthy lifestyle, get back to teaching the kids, traveling.
DeLacy is looking for a person with an O-positive blood type with no pre-existing health conditions like diabetes or high blood pressure. If you're interested in learning more, we have a link on our website at WTVR.com. We wish her the best. Hey, this is exciting. We are just now 2 weeks away from the Flying Squirrels' final home opener at the Diamond, and on Thursday we got to look at their future home.
Young Squirrels principal owner Lou DeBella got a walking tour of the construction with Mayor Danny Avula and members of City Council. Officials say the project remains on schedule and should be ready to go in time for the start of the 2026 season. And if your only experience with going to the game is at the Diamond, the new park will feel like a whole new ball game.
And a lot of time and effort went into the aesthetic, particularly the experience of walking into the park. If you walk in through this entrance and you're staring out on the whole baseball field onto center field and beyond, I mean, it's going to be beautiful. I think people are going to gasp.
But of course, that's next year. As we mentioned, that we are now officially 14 days away from the 15th home opener for the Squirrels, the last one at the Diamond. First pitch for that Friday, April 4th game against the Akron Rubber Ducks is set for 6:35 that evening. There are only a few tickets left for what will likely end up being a sellout, so make sure you act fast.
Yeah, I remember 15 years ago we were trying to figure out what we were going to call that team.
I know, right? You remember that?
They were almost the Hush Puppies. I remember that.
You remember that?
I did a story on that. Yeah.
And from the ballpark to the hardwood, another day of watching hoops as March Madness continues.
And we have another full slate of games today for you here on CBS 6. Tip-off for today's first game between Mississippi State and Baylor will be shortly after noon. Then it's the #1 seed Duke Blue Devils taking on Mount St. Mary's. At 7, Kentucky goes one-on-one with Troy. And our final game tonight will be Illinois taking on Xavier. By the way, because of the games, we won't have the CBS 6 news at noon, 4 or 7:30, but we will have news at 5, 6, and your late news once that final game wraps up. By the way, watching this game yesterday, a heartbreaker. VCU's loss yesterday. After VCU's loss, the two remaining teams from Virginia are Norfolk State and Liberty. They play at 6:50 and 10:10 respectively. Meanwhile, in the women's tournament, which gets underway in full today, Virginia is tied for the most teams in the tournament with five. And the Commonwealth is off to a great start, too, after William and Mary earned their first ever tournament win, knocking off High Point in a play-in game yesterday.
Yeah, the eyes of many of our viewers will be on the Spiders as Richmond takes on Georgia Tech tonight at 7:30. For other Virginia schools, Liberty will take on Kentucky at high noon. Tomorrow, William and Mary take on top-seeded Texas at 9:45. Norfolk State battles Maryland at 4. And George Mason will play their first ever tournament game in the 4+ decades they play Division I ball when they face off against Florida State at 7:45.
All right, a lot of basketball on tap, Mike.
Yeah, don't forget, the soap operas are actually just taking a break yesterday and today. No one's missing anything.
Nothing. Pick up where you left off.
That's true. Well, you know what, for today, we have a few clouds outside right now. These will get scoured out. We're going to have a sunny day today. We'll be a bit breezy the first half of the day. Yesterday, we hit a high of 77. Today, right around 61 for our high temperature. So we'll be cooler, but we'll have a good deal of sunshine. We'll talk about your weekend forecast in just a few minutes. Time now for another Window World picture at 5:39. And this is, again, a best of from this week. This is Kim Motzik, and this is Goodnight Cape Charles. If you want to send us a picture like Kim and the rest of our photographers did, it's pics@WTVR.com, email-wise, or you can use the CBS 6 Weather Authority app. Rob.
Thanks, Mike. The newest episode of the CBS 6 podcast, Untold, is out now. We have a preview for you as our Katie Beck sits down for a one-on-one with Richmond's Sheriff Antoinette Irving.
And I'll tell you all about my visit with a very special group of preschoolers in Richmond. That's coming up after the break. The Department of Government Efficiency has been blocked from accessing some sensitive Social Security data. On Thursday, a federal judge raised concerns of a, quote, fishing expedition and blocked the Social Security Administration from giving DOJ access to data that contains personally identifiable information. The new temporary restraining order also requires DOJ to delete any of that data that they've already received from the agency. They must also remove any software they've installed in the Social Security Administration systems. DOJ can, however, access data that is redacted or anonymous, but only if the DOJ representatives are properly trained and agree to a background check. The third episode of a new WTVR podcast called Untold went online this morning. Katie Beck sat down with Antoinette Irving, the sheriff of Richmond.
Right, and they talked about the state of the jail right now and the city's drug problem, but also the obstacles that Sheriff Irving overcame while growing up with an abusive father in Creighton Court.
It got to a point that myself as a kid was no longer willing to tolerate that. And some things happened. And
what does that mean? You weren't willing to tolerate that?
Because I felt that I was at an age that I could speak up and speak out.
And you did?
And I did. And that reaction of, seeing my mother in the situation that she was in, it was like, this has got to stop. Because parents often feel that they have to be subjected to things to take care of their family or make sure that their family is in a good position. And they don't want to oftentimes make things more difficult. And again, in any domestic violence situation, people have to be ready and prepared to leave those situations. And when the time came, it came.
How old were you when you spoke up?
I probably started to speak up as early as 9 or 10.
Was there a price for that?
There was a price, but I was a pretty hard to get along with little kid and very vocal, and I wanted to take care of my family.
This episode and all episodes of Untold with our Katie Beck can be found on WTVR.com and our YouTube page, but also on Apple and Spotify.
Thursday was another special day for students at Fairfield Court Elementary School, and this time thanks to a generous author and our very own Janine Samuels and Bill Fitzgerald.
Yeah, through our parent company Scripps Give a Child a Book campaign and our generous viewers like you, we've been able to provide free books in each of the last 2 years. And because of that enthusiasm, best-selling children's author Dave Pilkey joined in by donating a copy of his latest Dog Man book to every child. More than 100 elementary students piled into Fairfield Court's cafeteria for this big surprise, and it was joyously received, as you can imagine. Last summer, we raised nearly $20,000 through the Scripps Howard Fund Give a Child a Book campaign. Students said their love of reading is being rewarded even when they speak another language.
אני מתרגשת בגלל אני אוהבת לקרוא הרבה.
Now, can you translate that for us? What did you just say?
I said I'm excited because I love reading a lot.
Next month, students at Fairfield and J.B. Fisher will have another book fair where every child will get another 5 free books to take home.
Very cool.
That is awesome. From chatting about my job to talking about storms and meeting their pet turtle, Speedy, I had a blast talking with 4- and 5-year-old students at Westminster Canterbury Child Development Center in Richmond. I told the group how I loved reading as a young child, and reading is a big part of my life and my career today. They had plenty of good questions, and I got to know a lot about them. If you ever talk to 4- and 5-year-olds, you get to hear a lot. And they couldn't wait to show me Speedy, their class turtle. My visit was all part of Women's History Month. I want to thank Miss Jasmine, Miss Sheila, and Miss Felicia for inviting me. And a special shout out to Jack and Beatrice, who were my buddies. They held my hand as we walked through the hallways.
Oh, Beatrice held your hand?
Yeah, and Jack. Yeah, they asked the class afterwards, like, what was their favorite thing about my visit? And Jack said, I got to hold her hand. Thank you, Jack.
That was so sweet.
Reba, you're a celebrity. Don't forget that.
Oh, man.
These kids watching you on TV. That
These
looks
kids
so
are
cute.
asleep. They don't know me.
You don't know that. All right, we're approaching 5:48 on this Friday morning. I'm Brendan King in for Kristen. I wanted to give you a heads up about this before it turns 6 o'clock because bridge repairs on Parham Road over Interstate 95 southbound in Henrico County wrapping up in just a few minutes, so that's good news. But look at this. At the exact same location, but on the interstate, shoulder rehab starts this weekend, Interstate 95 south at marker 82. This is Parham Road, right, and center lane closures, so it starts both Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m. and it wraps up at 7 p.m. So watch out for those road closures, those lane closures. Here are your current drive times on 64 Short Pump to downtown, a 12-minute commute. Reverse that, 12-minute commute from downtown to Short Pump. Rob, back to you.
Thanks, Brendan. Hey, you soccer fans out there, the Richmond Kickers will kick off their 33rd season with a home opener at City Stadium this weekend. You can catch their match against AV Alta FC tomorrow at 6 o'clock. You can also watch the CBS 6 subchannel 6.3. Go Kickers.
Well, this morning, new video has been released showing police chasing a goat down the side of a road. Where it happened and what happened to the animal when she was caught. Plus, Mike has a full look at the forecast.
Now, from CBS 6, the Weather Authority, meteorologist Mike Stone.
It's 5:52 on your Friday morning. We have a few clouds across parts of the area, but they are in the process of breaking on up, so we're going to see a good deal of sunshine for the day today. Right now at the airport, it's 45 degrees. Winds are in the northwest at 9, making it feel more like 40 degrees, but we still have a few spots where we have some gusts over 20 miles an hour. So low and mid 40s across the metro, upper 40s to around 50 southeastern Virginia, but look at Stanton, it's 37 there. The cold front that came through last night with the showers and thunderstorms thunderstorms has passed on by, and the cooler air is filtering in behind it. In fact, as you look a little bit farther upstream to the north and west, temperatures in the 20s and 30s. But take a look at this. Just to our west, temperatures are anywhere from about 20 to 35 degrees colder. I'm not going to see that much of a drop here, but instead of upper 70s like we had yesterday, we're going to be about like 15, 16 degrees cooler today with highs in the lower 60s. Some of these clouds out by St. Louis, a few of those may be in here this evening, but for the most part, the clouds we have across the region right now are in the process of breaking on up. Still some clouds northern neck, middle peninsula, but this will all start to break on up and skies will become sunny across the region this morning. And we'll have a mainly sunny afternoon with high temperatures ranging from the mid 50s near the coast, upper 50s and low 60s elsewhere. This evening, looking at temperatures dropping down in the 40s to around 50 degrees. A few clouds overnight into tomorrow morning, lows in the 30s to around 40. And tomorrow we're looking for a mix of clouds and sun. Highs being the upper 60s and low 70s. A little cold front's going to come through later in the day. There could be a sprinkle or two north of I-64, more so up by D.C. But for the most part, most of the Commonwealth will be dry. Tomorrow morning is the SPCA 5K and Dog Jog. Casey? Dog Jog. We have temperatures in the 40s to start off, and then we'll get into the upper 50s by 11 o'clock. In the afternoon, we'll hit a high of 71 degrees. We'll be breezy, though. Southwesterly winds about 15 to 25 miles an hour. Particularly the past few days, we're in the mid to upper 70s Wednesday and yesterday. Today, 61, which is actually where we should be this time of year. Tomorrow, we're back up to 71 degrees. Then another little downturn on Sunday, 62, back up close to 70 on Monday, back down to around 60 by midweek. But we are looking at temperatures for next weekend to go back up into the 70s. So mainly sunny today, breezy, a high of 61, 39 tonight, 71 tomorrow, then 62 on Sunday. We'll have a cloud-sun mix this weekend. Some rain showers on Monday, high of 68, and mainly dry Tuesday. Could have a few showers Tuesday evening into Wednesday, and then 59 for Thursday, but again, warming back up into the 70s at the end of next week. Rob, Reba?
All right, thanks, Mike. Well, usually on the news, when you see footage of a daring chases, they tend to be car versus car or on foot, but this one involves something you don't normally see. We got hooves.
Hooves, yeah. Take a look at this footage out of Akron, Ohio. Police there receiving a call a few days ago about a loose goat.
Come here.
A goat along State Route 8, so they had to run it down, which, as you can see, was a lot easier said than done. It was playing Frogger with the oncoming traffic there. Eventually, the officers did capture it and found it had no tags, chips, or markings to indicate where she belonged. But all's well that ends well. That goat, who the officers have named Fugitive, was brought to a local rescue group who eventually took her to a farm.
Oh.
She just wanted to be a kid again.
That's it. Be a kid.
Did you guys hear that, or was that just in my head?
Nope, that was you.
That was you. Explains a lot. Well, Kings Dominion launches a record-breaking ride while celebrating a big 50th anniversary. Yeah, I'm going to give you a close look at the heart-racing Raptera ride and tell you how big the tallest and longest launched wing coaster in the world is.
Helping high schoolers enter the workforce after graduation. I'm going to show you how a big employer here in Virginia is finding some of its freshest talent thanks to the Richmond Technical Center. That's coming up in my all-new Building Better Minds report.